All right, guys, well, welcome to today's Thursday Hangout. Today's Thursday, August 18th, 2016, and I'm super excited for our call today because we have the privilege of having a special guest on today's call. As you guys know, we try to get special guests on, really as often as possible, just because we really believe that hearing different perspectives, hearing different point of views benefits everyone. You get to hear different stories. And stories are what sell in our business, right? Being able to relate somebody's struggle that they're going through with a story of somebody that that's overcome that same struggle helps them to get that, get a little closer to to getting on board, whether it's with their fitness or nutrition or whatever it may be. And today we have the privilege of having Chris Reed with us. Before we get to Chris, if you're a new coach on the team, I want to just welcome you. We're excited to have you here and excited to be working with you. We are honored that you would entrust us to join our team, to partner with us, to help you to achieve your goals. Again, whether that's with the fitness side, your nutrition, to help you to build a business, to help you to change your life. We're excited that you're here, and we know that if you take this serious, if you put in the work, if you don't look at this as some, kind of get rich quick type of thing that you're going to try for a couple weeks to see if it works out. But if you put in the real work, the real effort, the consistent effort, that you can truly change your life in every aspect, whether it's your relationships, your finances, your health, everything. So congratulations to you. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. Only thing I want to announce, just to mention, there's some announcements in your Coach Online office in the breaking news section, things like the health bet that are coming up. Obviously, we have a ton of challenge packs on sale this month, so make sure that you're taking advantage of those programs. People that have maybe been on the fence, this is a great time for them to get started as we're getting back to school, as people are getting back into their regular routine of, wake up, send the kids off to school, and then get their stuff done. It's a great time to take advantage of that. Even if they don't want to start until September, have them get started now, or October for that matter. Have them take advantage of the challenge pack sales that are going on right now, so that they can get their stuff in their hand and get going with it. And then the last thing I want to mention, you guys have heard us talk a lot about these 6-day Shakeology challenges that we've been doing over the past few months, that Jessica's really been kind of spearheading and leading those. We have really everything you need to run a successful 6-day group right for you. If you go to the pinned post in the team page, you're going to see a link to the team calendar. That calendar shows all the events that are going on for the entire month for the team. So whether it's sneak peek groups, challenge groups, the 6-day Shakeology challenge groups, these team calls, all the information is right there. So when you go there, you're going to see some different links. When you click on the 6-day group, you're going to see, when you click on that, all the templates are right there, all the Evernote docs, all the scripts for your daily posts, the meal plans, everything is there right at your fingertips for you to run a successful group. Now, if you're a new coach, I would definitely encourage you to go to that calendar and review that information, but also reach out to your sponsor to see, hopefully they should be running their own group, and you can kind of tag along in their group and learn how to run it yourself. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, because sometimes people have been asking, where's the information at? Where's the Evernote document? Where are the recipes, things like that? It's in the team calendar. So again, if you go to the pinned post at the top of the Team Infinity page, click on the calendar, that'll open up. And then the 6-day Shakeology challenge, you click on that event that's going on the calendar, and all the documents, all the information is there on how to run a successful 6-day group. So that's it as far as announcements. Let's jump into our call. Again, we have Chris Reed with us. Chris is a friend of mine who I don't even know how it's been. I don't even know, probably 4 or 5 years now, something like that I've known Chris. Just kind of watched him from afar for a while, and then got to meet him at leadership and other events through Beachbody. And Chris is really one of the most down-to-earth, humble people that I've really ever met within Beachbody in general, but in life. And it's been exciting to watch his career with Beachbody, his team grow. Chris is a 10-star diamond coach. He has 4 business centers. He's a 5-time elite coach Now, for those of you who are new, maybe you don't even know what elite is. Let's just say that it's kind of a big deal. It's one of the top things that Beachbody recognizes, and he's the only male Beachbody coach to repeat that 5 times in a row. And I've done it twice myself, and it's a challenge. It's some serious work on not only growing your personal business, but helping your team grow their businesses. That's one of the beautiful things about our business, is that we succeed when we help others succeed. And so Chris has been able to repeat that 5 times. He has 74 months in a row in Success Club. It just shows the mark of consistency, and that's what this business is all about. He's a member of the Million Club. He's spoken at Summit twice, and together with his wife Cody, they are the only couple to make elite. Both of them have hit elite 3 times in a row, which is just an incredible feat. He's a former SWAT team leader. He's been full-time with Beachbody since 2012, and again, it's just been an honor to get to know Chris better, and it's an honor to have him here sharing with us, sharing with all you guys. So hopefully you have a notebook, a pen ready to take some notes, because I'm sure Chris is going to be dropping some amazing nuggets for us tonight. So Chris, go ahead and take it away. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks very much. You can hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
I appreciate that. So thanks so much for having me on the call. Sorry for us having to do this twice to make sure that we get through. So I'm going to expound a little bit on my story and who I am and how I got started. I was an Emerald Lead customer to my coach, and so my coach makes a lot of money off of my team right now, and so that kind of goes to show how important qualifying for those leads and getting Emerald leads is. But I was one of those that, in the beginning, in 2009, when I signed up, I was almost 270 pounds. And when I would log in, there would be a little girl at the bottom of the page, and she had a card up, and she's like, be a coach. And I was like, I don't know what a coach does. I'm too fat to be a coach. And, and just not something, why would they even think that just random people would want to be coaches? I didn't realize that it was a network marketing business. And I really had no idea what a network marketing business was when I talked to my coach about it, because I was intrigued by the 25% discount. I was buying supplements, I was buying the protein bars and the recovery drink and other stuff like that. And so I did the math, and I was like, well, I will save as much as I spend being a coach. So it's kind of a wash. And if I get to make money doing it, then maybe I'll give it a shot. But I was pretty sure it was a scam. I was pretty sure that it was a pyramid scheme. No, that phrase came out of my mouth. And I was very hesitant. I asked my coach, I was like, hey, is this something where I'm going to have to recruit my friends and family? I'm going to have to, try and get other people to do this too. And he said, well, yeah, but if you're doing it right, then you're going to want those people to do that. And so I went to a business opportunity meeting and decided I was going to be a coach. And so I came home, I signed up, and honestly, guys, I was one of those coaches where I told my coach 3 or 4 times, okay, I'm going to sign up tonight. And then I didn't, and then I'm like, I'm going to sign up tonight. And then I didn't, but I eventually did. And I went diamond in 6 weeks after that. I was emerald in a couple of days, because when I went to that business opportunity meeting and I saw other people there, ironically, the people that were running that group, it's like a who's who in Beachbody now, because it was Jason Diebold, Barbie Kalev, Julie Schulte, Melissa Hudgens, Robert Hudgens, all of these people who were just, diamonds, or maybe, star diamonds or 2-star diamonds at the time. But I had a conversation with them, and I wasn't scared to be like, okay, how much money are you making? And doing this. And the reason that I did that is because I have the confidence that if they could do it, so could I. I signed up with the mindset that if this wasn't a scam, if it was legitimate, then I was going to crush it. If it was really up to me about whether or not I could succeed, then I was going to succeed, in spades. To begin with, my first goal was to not lose money. After basically the first week or two, I changed that to, okay, let's earn enough to pay for my stuff. And I accomplished that in the first month. And then it kind of just started snowballing from there. And in the beginning, Cody had no interest in the business. I would every Thursday I'd look and I'd be like, hey baby, we made $50. And she'd be like, okay, cool. You worked like 30 hours this week. So that's like $1.20 an hour. That's not really that impressive, but the next week it was, hey baby, we made, $60, and so on and so on and so on. And when I got to around $160, which took me, a few weeks, she got interested, and she's like, okay, tell me what you're doing. And then she kind of came in a little bit. But the thing that I liked about this business, guys, control how successful I was. Nobody else gets to control how successful I am. And, I'm a big believer in personal responsibility and taking credit for your successes and for your failures. So like when I ask my team, and I'm a big believer in mindset, when I ask my team or I ask my coaches, hey, are you going to make Success Club this month? And they say, God willing, or, I'm going to give it a try, or I'm talking to people, or I got irons in the fire, all that stuff, basically that's a no. Because if they're given those excuses or giving themselves those ways out, then they're not going to do it. But if somebody says yes, then I'm likely to believe that they're going to make it happen. You have to have that kind of mindset. When I ask people after the month, I'm like, hey, did you make Success Club last month? And they say no. And I say, well, why not? And it's great. I mean, it never fails, right? They're like, well, my cousin was supposed to buy a challenge pack and she didn't. Or my neighbor said that they need to wait until payday to buy a challenge pack. Or, my customer said that they were going to upgrade and they didn't. And I always come back, I'm like, I didn't ask you what your cousin or your customer or your neighbor did. I asked you what you did. I asked you if you made Success Club. It's not their responsibility for you to make Success Club. It's your responsibility. You don't get to put the responsibility for the success of your business in somebody else's lap. And when somebody says, hey, how come you didn't reach your goals? You get to point at other people and somehow or another blame them for the fact that you didn't talk to enough people and find people who were looking for you and who were ready to make that change in their life. Things where you get to control exactly how much you make. So I was a cop, and I was the hardest working cop at the police department. I got some awards and some cool guy stuff, but I was the lowest paid sergeant at the police department because I was the youngest and I was the most junior. Even though I made more arrests than all of the other sergeants put together, I was the lowest paid sergeant. And it drove me crazy because no matter how hard I worked, I had zero input on how much money I made. And there was one day where I was sitting there and I was like, why am I busting my ass at this police department, where if I leave, they're just going to hope that the next guy they hire me wears the same uniform size as me so they can give him my stuff. Why am I busting my tail doing this when I have this Beachbody thing over here that I'm kind of, toying with, where I'm the one who gets to control how much money I made. So at that time, I was SWAT team leader. I was the head defensive tactics coordinator. I was the captain of the drill guard or the honor guard. And I taught at the police academy too. And really when I made that decision, I started dialing all that stuff back and saying, because I loved my job. I did. I loved my job. But I loved being able to design a life and provide for my family in a way where if I told my kids no, they couldn't have something, or no, we couldn't go there, it was because I didn't think they deserved it, or I didn't want to, not because I couldn't afford it. The reason that I told them no wasn't based on money. It was based on my discretion. And it's not just cops that we find ourselves in that way. When I was 5 or 6 years old, when you asked me what I was going to be when I grew up, I was either going to be a cop or a firefighter or a paramedic. And, as I matured into a young man, I was like, well, cops get to drive fast and they get to jump fences and thump heads and cool stuff like that. So I think I'll be a cop. And so that's what I did. But the reason that I wanted, those were my career choices, was because I wanted to help people. I wanted to give back to the community, give back to the world, right? I wanted to leave a legacy. And I used to measure that by, you know, how many people's lives I saved, how many people I pulled out of cars, or how many people I saved during an attack or something like that. And that stuff's all noble. And, you know, and there are people alive today because I did some hero stuff and saved them. And there's people alive today because I didn't kill them when they needed it. But in the 5 or 6 years that I've been a Beachbody coach, well, actually, geez, man, 7 years. 7 years since I've been a Beachbody coach, I've done more good for more people, better quality people, than I did 17 years as a police officer. You know, and that's important to me. It's not, you know, because the people that I'm helping in this business, they want my help. And so when I talked about trying to leave a legacy, guys, I'm not sure of another opportunity to leave a legacy like we have here. You know, a legacy where, you know, I've reached out to other people and they've helped people who've lost 200 pounds. A guy who's not even 30 years old, got 4 kids, and he's lost 200 pounds. And so you can't tell me that that guy who's lost 200 pounds isn't now going to go to, you know, graduations and weddings and births of grandchildren and all of these other things, that he's not going to be able to go to those things and have those memories with those family members had if he was weighing, you know, 400 pounds. Because one of the stark realities that I noticed as a police officer is when I went to a deceased person call, you know, their age was directly related to their size. You know, there's a reason they say little old man. You know, when I went to and you know, the person who had passed away was old or elderly, they were slim. But if they were in their 50s or late 40s, they were big. And you know, and that's just real life. I'm not trying to scare anybody or anything like that, but you know, the people that, you know, people say that they want to be with their family. You know, I mean, one of the most noble excuses about why people don't work out is, well, I want to spend more time with my kids. Well, how about a couple more decades with your kids, because you decide to make better choices? You know, instead of you not having that 30 minutes a day, or that 30 minutes a day that you know, say that you're spending with your kids, so you're not making time for yourself. How about putting that time into the fact where not only are you going to be spending more time with your kids, you're going to be spending more time with your grandkids. And that legacy goes past that. There's people on my team now that are full-time coaches, 6-figure earners. And now, because they're full-time coaches, they take their kids to school. They pick their kids up. They do, you know, if they're away from their kids, it's because they choose to be. They don't have to ask anybody's permission like I did for the time off to go to a birthday, or to go, you know, to a soccer game or anything like that. And so they are potentially, you know, raising better kids who are going to grow up, and they're going to raise better kids who are going to grow up, and they're going to raise better kids. So after everybody on this call is gone, there's people that are going to be living a better life, and they're not going to have any idea who Chris Reed is. They're not going to have any idea who anybody on this call is. But the reality is that the fact that we sold somebody a challenge pack, or we offered somebody this business opportunity, had an impact for generations to come. And that's the kind of legacy that we're leaving with this business. I love analogies, guys. And here's one of the things that, you know, when I started this business, I talked to Monica Ward, and you know, Monica. Well, when I decided I'd outgrown my original coach, I reached out to Monica and I asked for her to mentor me, and she graciously accepted. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I always go back to in that first conversation, where I asked this woman who was $1 million earner, very successful coach, I said, you know, what do I need to do to succeed? What do I need to do to be like you? And she told me many things, but one of them was, I want you to go to this seminar. And it was a goal setting seminar, and it was in California or Vegas. Those were the two places it is. I live in Texas, right? And so when she told me that, I did some quick looking, and I was like, well, okay, you know, we just finished Summit, and I don't know if I can do that because I don't have the money for airfare. I put Summit tickets on my credit card at that time, and you know, and I used all my vacation time for Summit. And then I got off the phone and I was like, man, what kind of knucklehead am I? Because I just gave her, I went to her and said, look, I need your help. Tell me what to do. And she told me what to do. And I immediately gave her the two biggest excuses that drive me crazy as a coach. When somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to get in shape, or hey, I want to build this business. And I tell them what it takes and they're like, oh, I don't have time for that. Or they're like, oh, I don't have money for that. Two excuses that people give for everything. And I just gave them to Monica, who told me, you know, this is what you need to do. Now, I'll tell you, I tried to get that seminar to come out to Dallas by you know, gathering people up and getting enough people to host a class here, but I wasn't able to make that happen. So I made the trip happen. You know, I started working extra shifts so I would have the money and so I would have the time off. And I went to that seminar. The seminar was great, but honestly, the biggest lesson that I got out of that seminar was that I need to get out of my own way. And when I ask somebody for advice, or when I'm asking somebody, say, hey, how do I get where you are? And they tell me that I need to do that. Instead of making excuses and trying to explain why that wouldn't work for me, I need to understand that, you know, to show them the respect that for what they've done, and to really understand that they're just as busy as I am. She was a full-time teacher when she started. You know, everybody's busy, but everybody thinks that they're busier than other people, or they think, you know, that because we're full-time coaches that we must have always been full-time coaches. So yeah, you can do this because you're a full-time coach. But when I signed up, I was working 60 hours a week. I had kids in jiu-jitsu. I had kids in scouts. I had kids in soccer. I was working midnights. My wife worked full-time too. But I saw this as something that was real. And I saw this as something where it was completely my responsibility. And I was the only person who was able to make this work. Now, I tell you, I've got 74 months in Success Club. I won't ever miss Success Club. And that was a mindset change for me too, because I started making Success Club in like March or maybe April of 2010. And they started Success Club in January of that year. And when they announced it, even though I was a diamond coach, when they announced it, I was like, gee, mini Christmas, 5 points in 1 month. Who can do that? There's going to be, you know, there was a Success Club trip where that time, listen to this, that time you had to just make Success Club 9 months in a row and you got on the trip. You didn't pay for anything. But, you know, so it's a little different now. But so they said, hey, you know, make Success Club 9 months in a row and you're going to go on this awesome cruise. And I was like, 9 months in a row, there's going to be like 6 coaches on that boat. Nobody can make Success Club 9 months in a row. And I went to Summit, and Summit changed everything for me because I talked to these people again and I saw all these other people, and Carl got up on stage and there was only 8 months left in the year. And he said, I tell you what, if you make Success Club this month, we'll count it twice. And so then if you finish out the month, then you go on the trip. And I was surrounded by people who were making Success Club. And I was like, they're not any smarter than me. They're not any more driven than me. Their kids aren't any more deserving than mine. So I'm going to make Success Club too. If it's really possible, then I'm going to do it. And I made it happen. You know, I made Success Club happen that month. And then I did it again the next month. And then the third month was a real game changer for me because the people that I made Success Club with in the third month, I didn't know them 2 months earlier. And so that's when I knew that I will always make Success Club because I will never meet everybody in the world. And so the people that I'm going to earn my Success Club points by helping them 2 or 3 months from now, I haven't even met them yet. And so that's why I knew every month I was going to make Success Club. And that mindset has been what's led me to where I am now. And so, like I was talking about with the analogies, here's the thing. One of the thing that Monica said to me when I said, you know, I want to be where you are. I want to do the things that you've done. You know, she said to me, she's like, you know, the only difference between you and me is time and consistency. Only difference between you and me. And she's exactly right. Now I know that for a fact because she's always going to be in front of me because she's signed up before me and work at about the same level. I mean, there are coaches who signed up after me and have passed me. You know why? Because they work harder than I do. It's not because they have some secret Facebook group where they go in there and they're like, hey, challenge packs are on sale. And somebody's like, hey, my whole family wants one. And they suddenly get 10 points. They just talk to more people than I do. But we're all running our own race. And so, that race, imagine a highway, right? And so, the thing that I think about is we're all on the same exact highway. And when I asked Monica, or when I see Facebook posts about a coach, as I was growing up as a coach, if you will, and I see a coach traveling, or I see a coach talking about that they have paid off all their debt, or I see a coach, buying rental property or doing these other things with the money that they're now making with Beachbody and the life that they're able to design, I know that I'm on the same road as they are. They're just a little bit in front of me. But as long as I don't quit and exit, I will get there. I just have to stay on the same road. Now this road, we're all on it. And some of you guys are still in the garage trying to build your car by reading the P&P and trying to know everything front and back. You're still in the garage with your car. While other people, they just jump in the car and they throw 4 wheels on it and a steering wheel and they're like, all right, I'm going to figure this thing out while I go. And you're bringing other people along, but they're immediately making progress and talking to other people. And those people in the garage, eventually they sit this thing down and they're like, well, man, and then when they finally get moving, they're like, well, I'm 3 months into this and, I'm not getting anywhere. It's because you spent 3 months in the garage, know everything instead of talking to other people. It's when you're building that car while you're going, then your business is going to be moving faster. And you can look at that and you can look at what Mark and Jessica have done and you can look at all these other people and be like, okay, this is how long they've been doing it. And when I have been in the business that long, that's where I want to be too. Jason Diebold was the guy that I used as my measure. And, I think he's I think he's outpacing me now. But there was a time where, I would be like, hey, what are you making? And he would tell me and I'd be like, okay, and how long you been doing this? And so I would use that as my guide so that I could follow him. To where now, guys, I left the police department with 17 years in. And ironically, my coach left the Army with 17 years in. And I was like, you're crazy. You're 3 years away from retirement. And he's like, no, I think it's the right decision. And I left with 17 years in and people told me, you're crazy. I can't believe you're doing that. But, now that monthly pension that I'll still get when I'm 65, that monthly pension is not quite 2 days pay with what I'm making with Beachbody. And, and I left in 12. So that means I left when my twins were 6 and when my oldest son was 8, something like that, 8, 9, he was 9. And so those are formative years with my kids. And so in the beginning, when I didn't do anything except for work my business, the reason that I did that, I was making investments in my kids' future, not only for being able to pay for college and pay for these other things, but being able to be with them and do these things. Cody just sat down yesterday. Sat down yesterday and booked 3 separate trips to Disney with each one of the kids to where they're each getting to go to Disney, with her on her own. I'm frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. Well, let me get back on here for some reason.
You're moving on my end.
Okay. All right. So I'm back. Sorry about that. My screen keeps going away. But so, and we would have never been able to do that before. We've always been huge Disney fans, but we would go to Disney every 4 years. We put the whole thing on credit, work to pay it off, take us about 4 years to pay that trip off. And then by that time we'd be able to go again. And so it's about being able to design your life. And so, the thing that I want you guys to understand is it's not easy, right? Or actually it is easy, but but it's easy not to do too. There's not, you know, when you hear these calls and when you hear the national coach calls, nobody really tells you anything other than the vital behaviors. Talk to more people, do your personal development, be proof the products work, you know, and now we got recognized, which, you know, is, you do those things. They're not hard to do, but they're easy not to do. When I signed up as a coach, I didn't watch TV for 2 years, you know, and that's not, I'm not exaggerating. Well, I watched Survivor. I never missed an episode of Survivor. But other than that, I didn't watch TV for 2 years. And, you know, there were things that I said no to. I said no to going out with my friends. I said no to even sometimes, you know, doing something with my kids then, so that I can live the life that I live now. And that's what it takes. If this is a hobby for you, then you will get paid like it's a hobby. But if you treat this as a business where you are your only employee, you represent 100% of your staff, you know, then if you treat it like that and you're like, okay, how hard am I going to work for my business? If you treat it like that, then what you're going to be able to do is mind-blowing. And, you know, and it's not about setting a goal maybe right now for, hey, I want to be in the $1 million club, right? That was a goal of mine, but it was so far away. It didn't even cross my mind until maybe a couple of years ago. To begin with, it was, you know, I remember talking to people and talking to Cody. I was like, hey, I think we less than $300 a week from here on out, you know. And then I remember being in the SWAT room and we were getting ready for a raid. And I told one of my friends, I was like, dude, I make $800 a week doing this Beachbody thing. It's crazy, you know. And then, you know, and then it was, you know, then it doubled that bottom number. You know, that's been what I've measured my success by, is, you know, the bottom amount that we're going to earn, that benchmark. And seeing those benchmarks grow and grow and grow and grow made my goals grow and grow and grow and grow too, because I was one of those guys where I was like, you know what, I'm not leaving before I do my 20. I don't care how much money I make, I'm not leaving before I do my 20. And I think that everybody, if we're being honest, I think that everybody who says that, everybody who says, oh, I would never leave my full-time job, I think that they're not being honest with themselves. But we say that to ourselves to make us feel better about the fact, you know, that maybe we're not putting as much effort into it. Because the thing that I would challenge everybody who says that to do is, I dare you to make enough money to where every day when you wake up and you get ready to go to work, the reason you're doing that and the reason you're choosing to spend time away from your family or away from your house is because you just really love your job that much, not because you need the money, you know. And if that's your situation, I actually know, you know, 2 coaches that, you know, for some reason they're in that situation where they go to work even though they're making money hand over fist in Beachbody. And, you know, and that's fine. If you're one of those people, that's fine. I dare you to put yourself in that position, because the thing is if you have this and you say that you realize what it is, but you'll never leave your full-time job, it just doesn't make sense to me. Because if you've got kids, you're like, hey, how would you like to pay cash for your kids' college? How would you like to be able to you know, retire whenever you're ready to retire and travel the world? How would you, you know, money doesn't solve everything, but it solves a lot of it. And you know, maybe you want to give all of that money to the church. It doesn't matter. You know, one of my coaches, or one of the coaches on a different team, was just talking about how she just paid for a volleyball court, $30,000 volleyball court for her church. You know, that's a pretty big deal. And that's something that, you know, those members of that clergy, you know, I'm not gonna say they're more valued, but they're rarer, right? They would much rather her donate that $30K for a volleyball court than stand at the front door and greet people and hand out pamphlets, because anybody can do that. But there's only a few people in the clergy, or in the congregation, sorry, that can write a $30,000 check for a new volleyball court. So anything that you want to do, you can do it with Beachbody. You know, whether it's, you know, however many people you want to help, however many lives you want to change, whatever it is that you want to do, you know, you can do all of those things using this as your vehicle. I mean, if you guys are coaches, then you see that. And the thing about it is we get so hung up on being afraid to talk to other people. And and if that's who you are, if you're afraid to talk to other people about the fitness programs or even the business program, then you're doing it wrong. Because I can't help but talk to other people about it, because I lost 62 pounds with P90X. And so, when somebody tells me that they're out of shape, or they feel like, they're out of shape, or they get out of breath, I'm like, man, I've got a solution for you. And I'm doing them a favor by having that conversation. If somebody tells me that, they're not happy at their job, I'm like, man, I've got an opportunity for you. And they're lucky that I'm having that conversation with them. Now, I tell them it doesn't happen overnight, but it will absolutely happen. Just like the programs, if you do one of the programs and you follow the meal guide and you do the workouts and you don't miss them and you do it as it's supposed to work, then at the end of 60 days or 90 days, you will be different. And that's exactly how this business is. It's not like where you can buy P90X. I'll use old school. You can't buy P90X and do, all 7 workouts in one day, and then the next day wake up and be like, where's my six pack? Why don't I have, ripped muscles? That's not how that works. That's not how this business works. It's time and consistency that makes the difference. There's no magic cure. There's no magic place to go. It's about making sure that you are doing the things that need to be done. You have to get out of your own way and understand that you can't be using the same excuses that other people are using. If somebody asks you, hey, why aren't you successful in this business? Or, if you're not as successful in this business, and you look at things and you start rolling things through your head, well, like I'm too busy. I don't know enough people. I don't have time. It's, I don't drink Shakeology because it's too expensive. How could you possibly succeed? How could anybody come to you and say, hey, I need help changing my life the way you changed yours? They won't, because you haven't. You have to make sure that all of those excuses, your excuses are your story. Your obstacle is your story. And so the more obstacles you have, the more successful that you can be. Because when somebody comes to you and they're like, man, I'm too busy. I can't make this work. And I'm like, fool, I got 3 kids and I worked full time. You're single and got a dog. There's no comparison. The reason you're not successful is because you're not putting the time into it. And it's just that simple. You have to be the proof that the products and the business works. And if you are that proof, then it's going to be very easy for you to share with other people. And you put that in that mindset where I will succeed. And you get a chance to leave a legacy that, you would have never thought about. The reason that we grow up, man, or the reason, like I said, the reason that cops, firefighters, teachers, nurses, paramedics, service members, the reason that they tend to rock in this business is because we wanted to grow up and we wanted to help other people. And then when we grew up and we started having kids and we started having mortgages, we were like, man, I wish I got paid more and I wish my hours didn't suck helping other people. And that's exactly what this business is. And that's why those service-minded people crush this business if they apply that same kind of mindset. I'm not saying you have to be in that industry to succeed, but you do need that mindset. Zig Ziglar says, help enough people get what they want and you can have everything you want. And that's exactly what this business is. You got to be involved in it. You have to do it every day. It's not just when you get around to it. You do it every single day. And then you build that momentum, and where you take this business is completely up to you. It's just mind blowing. I never would have imagined that I would be in the spot where I am now, but I'm so blessed to be here. My career path was 25 years in the police department. Then I was I was heavy into SWAT. And so after that, I was probably going to go to Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever they were sending contractors, because I had a lot of buddies doing that. And so I was going to go do that for 3, 4, 5 years, pay off my house. That was my plan. And then I was going to come back and I was going to work at the post office or something and teach SWAT here in Texas. until I was 65 and then I was going to retire, because that was what Americans do. You work till 65 and then you retire. And, you know, and I ended up leaving the police department at 42. And now I come and go as I please without anybody else's by your leave. And it's just, you know, I'm just truly blessed. And everybody that's on this call has the same opportunity. It doesn't happen overnight, but if you're like, you know what, I will make Success Club every month from here on out, and I will help other people make Success Club from here on out, you know, then it's going to change for you. I know I'm running a little bit low on time, so I want to, you know, that's a lot of rah-rah stuff. So I want to tell you, I want to give you some numbers here to work with. And you know, I call it the 3 to 5 rule. But I saw it in a workshop at Beachbody too. So, you know, or at Summit. So, you know, it just goes to show that there's no secrets, right? I thought I made this thing up, but you know, somebody else is doing it too. But so 3 to 5. So if you want to build a multi-6-figure business, you sign 3 to 5 coaches a month. You make sure that 3 to 5 of your personally sponsored coaches make Success Club every month. You talk to 3 to 5 new people every day, and you invite 3 to 5 new people to join you every day. And if you do those things and you do them every day, then you can't help but succeed. You know, because there's the numbers thing behind this. I was going to close with that, but now I'll give you one more. You know, because if you do that and you do it often enough, you're going to get better. Because here's the thing: it is a numbers game. But there's a tangent, there's a little dash of skill that goes in that. Because if I just stood at a corner and I said to everybody, hey, want to buy a challenge pack? Hey, want to buy a challenge pack? Hey, want to buy a challenge pack? To everybody that walked by, eventually I'd sell a challenge pack. Somebody would be like, is that one of those Beachbody things? I've actually been thinking about it. But I would have to talk to a whole lot of people to get that. Or I can say, hey, how you doing? And have conversations with these people and build a relationship, and then improve my numbers to where I'm talking to less people, but my numbers are the same. So the thing is, you know, you've got to find out how many people you need to talk to sign 3 to 5 coaches a month. And then you turn around and you show your people how to do that too. If you do this and you do it right, it will absolutely change your life. I promise you. So I'm gonna close with that. If you guys got any questions or anything, I'm happy to take them. And thank you so much for letting me be on the call.
Awesome, Chris. Yeah, appreciate it. Great stuff. And you know, just a couple of things that stood out to me as I'm listening to you talk. It was interesting that you mentioned how the Success Club trip in 2010 that was kind of like the little bit of a push that made you go, because it was the trip. It was that trip. It was seeing people go on that trip. The next year, I saw pictures of people coming off that cruise ship in 2011, and I had no idea what Success Club was. I thought Success Club was for the successful coaches, so I didn't even pay attention to it. But I saw people getting off that ship, and I remember commenting on somebody's picture. I said, I'm going to be on that cruise ship next year. I didn't even know what the trip was or how to qualify. It ended up being in Atlantis, and that was March of 2011. From that month forward, we've hit Success Club, you know, every month ourselves. But that kind of got the ball rolling with that one thing that gave us that push. It was interesting that you had that you know, little moment as well. One of the things that I really liked as far as mindset, and I hope you guys caught it, was right in the beginning when he, you know, it kind of goes back to belief and the whole leaving a legacy theme is, you know, are you trying to get your friends in, or do you want them in, right? You know, and I think that kind of falls back to, do you really believe in what we're doing here, right? Because if you really do, you're going to want them to be with you, right? I mean, you're going to want them on the journey. You're going to want them improving their health and their finances and everything like that. And you know, it was interesting that you mentioned the whole leaving a legacy point, because we just posted a video, I don't know, 2 days ago, I think. And if you haven't seen the video on the team page, go back and watch it, about the women's rowing team, and how the commentators were talking about how they were leaving a legacy because it was their, I don't remember how many now, gold medals in a row that they were going for, and that was what their drive was leaving a legacy for their team in that event. So it was a perfect tie-in. Chris, couple of quick questions, kind of rapid fire that we try to end all of our calls with. All right, so just quick rapid fire answers. All right. So first of all, what's your favorite personal development book?
The Compound Effect would be my favorite personal development book. The personal development that really changed my life, guys, was Art of Exceptional Living, the 6-disc version. It's by Jim Rohn. There's a 2-disc version, but I don't know which 2 discs it is. I'm telling you, get all 6. And you know, that was something where, I mean, I remember exactly what I was doing. I was sitting I was standing in the nursery, and I was painting one of the kids' rooms, and I was listening to that, and I went and got Cody, and I brought her in, and I was like, "Are you listening to this? It's giving me goosebumps. Why are we not doing this?" And I mean, and you know, that 6-disc set changed my life.
Awesome. How about a favorite success quote? Do you have a success quote that really stands out to you that you fall back on?
If it's important enough, you'll do it. If it's not, you'll make an excuse.
Awesome. Love that one. And then last question, you know, knowing everything that you know now, you know, if you were to start all over, we were to, you know, drop you off in the middle of nowhere, you knew nobody, what are some of the things that you would do? What's like the first thing that you would do to start growing your business again? So knowing everything that you know now, having all the skills that you talked about getting, but you don't know anyone, you're just in the middle of nowhere. How do you build your business?
Yeah, well, you know, I would build my business by friending people on Facebook. You know, to begin with, I didn't have Facebook. My coach told me, "Hey, you need to get Facebook." I was like, "I don't want Facebook. It's for weird people. It's for geeks." You know, and then I got it, and he said, "You need to make friends with everybody." I was like, "No, I'm only going to make friends with people who have sat at my dinner table." And you know, and so, and then I realized, well, you know what, he is where I want to be, so I need to do what he tells me to do. And even though I made the diamond in 6 weeks, I was really pretty casual about it until that first summit. And so, you know, I think about, it's hard for me to complain about where I am now, but you know, if I look back, and I started in March of 09, but I really didn't start working the business until April of 10, you know, where would I have been? You know, where would I have been if I'd had that other year? Or even if I had signed up the first time that I said I was going to sign up, instead of, you know, not signing up for 4 times. And it's just, other than that, man, I feel like I did a lot of the stuff right. And it's not because I was smart, you know, maybe it was just because I was lucky. But, you know, I did P90X, and I did it exactly how it was supposed to be done. And that was really important, you know, because people were coming to me. If you do 21-day fix and 22 days later you look exactly the same, then why would somebody come to you and you know, try and get your help fixing themselves?
Awesome. Yeah. So obviously, you know, going back to the vital behaviors, being proof that the products actually work. You know, not that you have to be perfect. You know, you don't have to have a quote unquote beach body, but being on that journey and showing some type of progress at some point. And that was another point that he mentioned that hopefully you guys caught, and hopefully you guys wrote it down, was, you know, he just mentioned friending people on Facebook and expanding his network, and he realized, what was it, after the 3rd month or something like that, that, you know, the people that you were hitting Success Club with, you had friended them 2 to 3 months earlier. So it was not an immediate gratification. It was friend people, build relationships, and then 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 months. I'm sure you probably have people now, you know, 5, 6 years later that you friended back then that are just coming around.
Sure.
But it was that constant pipeline of expanding the network, building the relationship, and then inviting when they had a need, whether it was with their fitness or health or the business.
Right. And you know, and to add on to that real quick, I mean, and one of the things about that is when you're finding these people, you're literally finding, you know, your future best friends. You know, I mean, I know that we're not in elementary school, and you know, maybe best friends isn't a term that I use that often, but I mean, you know, some of my closest friends live in Maine and Indiana and California and Arizona, and they're at my house several times a year, or I'm at their house several times a year, and then we see each other at Summit and at Leadership and at other events. And so, you know, it's just changing everything about your life. Not that your life is bad right now, But I mean, if you know, if you surround yourself with like-minded people, if you find these other people, you know, they're gonna become some of your closest friends. And you know, so when you reach out to people on Facebook and you make new friends on Facebook, so what if they don't buy anything from you? You know, you've got a new friend. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely one of the coolest parts of this businesses. You know, I've heard it said often that, you know, a lot of times people will get started in a business like this because they want to make some extra money, but the reason they stay is because of the relationships that they build and the friendships that they build. You know, with both people who are on their team and people who are cross-line, just like this. You know, some of our best friends are people inside of Beachbody that we've gotten to meet over the years. And the cool thing is, as you're meeting these people on Facebook, you actually get to friend people who you have a lot of stuff in common with. You know, you friend people who are also Disney goers, or you know, people that believe in the same thing you do. So, like you said, you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, people who you actually enjoy being around. Unlike oftentimes at a job where you just have to, you know, tolerate your fellow coworkers, you actually get to enjoy working with the people that you work with here. It's kind of a nice thing. So, guys, that's it. I appreciate you guys hopping on and paying attention and tuning in and taking notes. And I appreciate Chris for taking time out of your day to be with us and to share with us. And I hope that you guys, as we leave this call, I hope you guys take away, as far as an action item, that 3 to 5 rule that Chris shared. You know, of you know, meeting 3 to 5 new people a day, inviting 3 to 5 new people a day. You know, sponsoring 3 to 5 people a month, keeping those rules in balance. You know, it's not inviting 21 people one day. It's the consistent effort, daily, consistent, you know, seemingly insignificant things that build up over time and compound over time that builds a successful business. So take that, guys, run with it. I hope this call was helpful. The recording will be up here in just a few minutes. So if you have teammates that weren't able to hop on live, feel free to share this with them. Chris, again, thanks. I appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good one.